we're not saying
Why
that
shouldn't Harry
families...
say his piece, Jane?
Because...
I think he's had to move away from a family that has given... They've done it behind his back.
Because he's using it to make money.
You talk to me about interrupting.
He's making money from it.
Right, the fact is... Well, the royal family make quite a bit of money, Jane, themselves, OK? So the fact is that they have been leaking stories, and we know they have. And as soon as Harry and Meghan, as soon as Meghan was seen as the people's princess, that was game over, because William and Kate have to remain in those positions.
Okay.
And Meghan was in those rooms way before the royal family. She was on the global stage of charities and everything. She didn't do that just when she got married to Harry. So I think... Do what you like, tell your story, because I think it's been absolutely...
The word according to Denise. There we go.
Tell your story, but not sell your story. Exactly. Is it blind support, or do you accept they have made some missteps?
Everybody makes mistakes, but I don't see anything wrong in him getting his wife out of this country. And when they said they wanted privacy from other people's narrative, not from their own story. And this is the only way they've got to tell it. And I'm Team Harry and Meghan.
Take a breath.
Denise's support signals that recognising this responsibility is admirable and morally grounded. Meanwhile, the royal family paradigm often places the institution above the individual and the child's welfare, expecting sacrifice. The notes here reflect that Harry was right. If the institution was putting his family at risk, he had to act. Harry and Meghan's decision to speak openly about their experiences, about racism, mental health, media intrusion, signals that they are not just walking away, but trying to transform limitations, raise awareness, and promote change. Denise appears to appreciate the bravery required to break silence. Jane, on the other hand, dismisses this openness and seems to support a keep quiet and carry on mentality. The notes support Harry and Meghan's stance. Truth-telling matters, especially when dealing with public institutions and systems of power. Their departure was a precondition for being able to speak truthfully. It is a powerful message that Harry and Meghan did not remain because of their titles and privileges, but instead chose dignity, self-respect, and meaningful living over representing an institution whose values they felt were at odds with their own. Denise's support emphasises how rare and brave that is. Jane and the royal family's defenders often treat stepping away as betrayal rather than a legitimate act of self-worth. The notes argue that Harry's decision was not disloyal, but rather loyal to himself and his intimate family circle. One of the implicit benefits of their departure is the opportunity to break cycles, patterns of silence, of emotional suppression, of hierarchical pain. By choosing to leave and speak out, Harry and Meghan are modelling an alternative, that one can honour family history but not be bound by its painful repetitions. Denise's support fits here. She sees value in challenging old norms. Jane remains tied to the old script of duty above all, which fails to acknowledge that institutions, including royal ones, can perpetuate harm when unquestioned. Harry and Meghan's narrative is one of empowerment, redefining identity away from royal job to human life and purpose. They are prioritising work, philanthropy, autonomy, and family over purely symbolic roles. Denise sees value in that shift. Jane, speaking from the vantage of the institution, views the shift as abandonment of responsibility, missing the fact that the responsibility itself may have been harmful or limiting. The notes therefore support Harry. He was right to redefine his life according to his own terms. The departure of Harry and Meghan implies a critique of the institution's lack of accountability, whether to mental health, racism, media aggression, privacy. Denise's alignment with Harry and Meghan suggests she values accountability and transparency. Jane remains entrenched in protecting the institution, prioritising tradition over reform. The narrative here supports that Harry's decision is also about refusing complicit support of an institution unwilling to change. Leaving the royal family is not easy. It means losing status, relationships, privileges, public adoration, and stepping into the unknown. Harry and Meghan did that regardless. Denise's support underscores that this took true courage. Jane's view is that the royal family has done nothing wrong or deserves the benefit of the doubt, whereas from the supporting side, the challenge is that the royal family's privilege often shields it from scrutiny. The notes frame Harry's departure as a courageous moral act, not a self-indulgent whim. Constructive futures rather than staying stuck. By leaving, Harry and Meghan opened new horizons: independent work, media, philanthropy, new homes, new priorities. The royal family pathway often involves repetition, public duty, and limited personal growth. Denise affirms that a new direction is viable and valid for individuals. Jane's perspective tends to emphasize the hazard of detaching from tradition, yet the notes argue that if tradition stifles humanity, moving on is the better path. Harry's departure becomes an enabling step toward a constructive future, not just escape. Thus, it is entirely reasonable, and indeed right, to argue that Harry was correct to leave the royal family, not out of spite, but out of love. Love for Meghan, love for their children, love for truth, and love for self-respect. The institution was failing him, or rather he was being asked to fail himself, and he chose a healthier path. Harry and Meghan's story is one of transformation, not betrayal. Denise's support is consistent with that positive framing, and Jane, the royal defenders, remain tied to older norms that the notes suggest deserve re-examination. She emphasizes that the royal family is a public institution and implies that once you become part of it, there is a responsibility to remain discreet or honor internal mechanisms rather than going public. Jane uses phrases like, "Would you tell your story but not sell your story?" and "Is it blind support or do you accept that they've made some mistakes?" as reported in coverage. She argues that Harry's putting everything into the public domain might be more about gaining attention or financial gain than simply seeking truth or justice. Denise reacts strongly. Early on, she interrupts Jane or counters her points. "Why shouldn't Harry say his piece, Jane?" And "I think he's had to move away from a family. They've done it behind his back." Denise contends that the couple have been unfairly treated by media and by the institution, and that they had very valid reasons for doing what they did. Stepping back, speaking out, protecting their mental health, protecting their family,